Hola, buenas tardes, ¿cómo están? Look at all those thumb ups. Like it, like it. All right. Well, here we are, Thursday afternoon, plugging along. Who's ready to talk about some reflexive verbs? Yay, fun. I know. Okay, so we're gonna kind of move on from stem changing verbs to reflexive today. There's a little overlap though, so don't be disappointed. We're not totally done with stem changers because guess what? There's some verbs that are reflexive and stem changing. Knew you'd be thrilled to hear that. So let's talk about reflexive verbs. In theory, you have studied them before. Whether or not you remember them, we will find out in a minute. So would anybody like to start us off by maybe telling us what is a reflexive verb or what does it look like? Or I have some examples here. There's a bunch on your vocab list. I'll show you a few just to get you warmed up. Okay, we're going to work on these tomorrow. That's one. See what they have in common. That's one. Oh, look, that one's reflexive and stem changing. That's one, reflexive and stem changing. Yay. That's one, just reflexive. Reflexive. Should be noticing something here about all these. Reflexive, reflexive, reflexive and stem changing. All right, so maybe if you weren't with me a minute ago, you are now. Raise your hand if you can tell me, what does a reflexive verb look like? Want to start with that? Look like? All right, Charles, start us off.
All reflexive verbs have arse at the end of it.
Okay, you're like mostly right. Okay, they definitely have an SE at the end. Okay, some of them have an AR because they're AR verbs. Some of them are not AR verbs though. Like this one, look, it's an IR verb. Okay, so there can be, you're right. It seems like most of them are. Look, there's another one. IR, this year say. So the say on the end though is what we're talking about. All right. So anybody remember what that means or how it works or what, I don't know, why it's there? What does that mean? Do you remember why we would have a reflexive verb? Pausing, thinking, contemplating. Okay.
Or
Well,
just
good thing for you. Oh, Caleb, were you going to talk? Go ahead, Caleb.
um I know we've been like talking about reflexive verb, but I don't really know what that means. Like
Okay.
I probably
Well,
know, but
lucky
I don't.
for you, I was just going to say I have a little PowerPoint to share with you. So I want you to put on your focus face. If I can't see your face, maybe adjust your camera so I know you have your focus face on. You're not texting your friends. You're not listening to your mom. Okay. Focus. Charlie's just in time. Let's let him in so that I can refresh with you. Okay. All right. All I need you to do is be staring at me. Ooh, this is not at the beginning. Don't look. Don't look. Play from start. Okay. All right. So Charlie, you're just in time. We're about to review what reflexive verbs are. So far, we have only remembered that they have a say on the end. So here we go. Everybody super focused while we re-explain. All right. So what is a reflexive verb? A reflexive verb is used when the subject and the object are the same. Okay. Basically, it's something someone does to oneself. All right. Now, I know in English it sounds a little funny. All right. It doesn't sound funny in Spanish. All right. So the idea is I wash myself. You wash yourself. He washes himself. She washes herself. We wash ourselves. They wash themselves. All right. Now, the idea is this is something that you do to yourself. All right. Not I wash the dog. Okay. Because I am not the dog. So it has to be something you do to yourself, or I do to myself, or he does for himself, or she does for herself, or we all do for ourselves. So these are things that we generally think about like daily routine type things, right? You get yourself out of bed, you brush your hair, you brush your teeth, you shower, you get yourself dressed, okay? All of these things you are able to do for yourself. And then, there are some throughout the day, maybe. There are some that can be reflexive or cannot be reflexive, depending upon what you mean. Like I said, if I'm washing my hair or my hands or my body, that's different than if I wash the dog. So it's something you have to do to yourself. And there's more at the end of the day, right? You take off your clothes, you put on your pajamas, you, again, brush your teeth, shower, whatever, you get yourself in bed and you go to bed, okay? All of those reflexive. So that's what we're talking about. Oops, try that again. Okay, so what does a reflexive verb look like? Well, we already said they have a say on the end when they're not conjugated. So we'll talk about conjugating them in a minute. But basically you have words like lavarse, maquillarse, despertarse, ducharse, secarse, okay? And that's what they mean. To wash oneself, to wake oneself up, to shower oneself, to dry oneself, etc. All right, and I know it sounds funny to say oneself, but it's just reminding you that you do it for yourself. Okay, so how do we deal with these verbs? Okay, because you don't go say to wash myself, you have to say I wash my hands, or I wash my face, or I shower. So here's what we do. It says to use reflexive verbs, you must first know how to use the say at the end. Okay, so you have to change the say to the correct reflexive pronoun. All right, here they are. The say magically changes into a may if you're talking about yourself, a te if you're talking to someone about, you're looking at someone saying yourself, like you do something. You'll notice the say stays the same. If it's he or she or they, same. And then if it's we do something for ourselves, it's nos. Vosotros is os. All right, so you kind of put those to one side. Then says now you conjugate the remainder of the reflexive verb just like you normally would. So look, let's look at levantarse, okay? So you get up, all right? AR verb, nothing fancy about it. Levanto, levantas, levanta, levantamos, levantáis, levantan. Regular AR endings, okay? Look at it, take that in, right? Look, o, as, a, amos, ais, on. Regular verb. Then you just have to put these little guys in front, okay? So here's the deal. If you want to say, I get up at 7, me levanto a las 7. If I'm talking to you and I say, oh, you get up at 7, te levantas a las 7. She gets up, se levanta a las 7. We all wake up at 7. Nos levantamos a las 7. And you guessed it, if they get up, se levantan a las 7. All right, do you have to use the say or the may or the te? Yes, yes you do, okay? If the original verb is levantarse and you are saying something about yourself or someone is saying about themselves, you have to use the may te say. All right, so what's interesting about these guys?
It changes the stem.
Thank you. Yeah, lucky you, right? We said not only is it reflexive, but it's a stem changer. So despertarse is E to IE, okay? And we still use our little guys, but you got to get in that boot, okay? Look, here's my boot. I'll outline it for you. So me despierto, te despiertas, all right? Changes in the boot, doesn't over here. Nos despertamos would just be a regular E. All right, vestirse, E to I. Okay, I think there's 3 reflexives that are stem changing. Acostarse, despertarse, and vestirse. So, okay, make sure you get those in there. Me visto, I get dressed. Te vistes, you get dressed. Se viste, he or she gets dressed. Nos vestimos, we get dressed. Se visten, they get dressed. All right, that's most of it. Then we're left with one more thing. What about if there is already a conjugated verb? So we're talking about if there are 2 verbs, like a lot of times you use quiero, right? I want. So if you had a regular sentence like I want to eat, yo quiero comer. I conjugate the first verb, I don't conjugate the second. Okay, you don't say quiero como, I want, I eat. You say quiero comer. Well, the same thing happens when it's reflexive, all right? But you have to deal with the me te say part. So look. Here's choice 1, Okay, I always try to remind people if you have two verbs, okay, these are my two verbs, you have two options. Okay, say it in your head because you're not here in class, so I'm not making you say it. When I have two verbs, I have two options. Okay, and the options are about where this may goes. So if you cover up the may for a minute, you have quiero acostar. I want to go to bed. You remember acostarse. I always say, look at the word star. Okay, when the stars are out, you go to bed. So that's a good little, hopefully, reminder of just what it means. So here's your choice. You can start with the may. It says we have split up the reflexive verb. The pronoun goes in front of the conjugated verb. The second half of the reflexive goes right after the conjugated verb, but we don't conjugate that. We already talked about that. And then you have this verb in the middle that is conjugated. All right, it says the conjugated verb is between both parts of the reflexive, like a little reflexive sandwich. Okay, so your choice, if you have two verbs, your first choice is to put that little mete say in front. Make yourself a little sandwich. Okay, me quiero acostar. I want to go to bed or put myself to bed at 10. All right, here's second option. This one's my preference. I know the little sandwich thing is cute, but this is what I like to do. You can also write a sentence this way when you have two verbs, because remember, two verbs, two options. Tú vas a cepillarte los dientes. You are going to brush your teeth. So you will notice ir is the conjugated verb. Cepillar is unconjugated because it's the second one. And the te can go right on the end. It's attached. Okay, so when I say two verbs, two options, this is what I mean. That te could swing around in front of the first one, making a sandwich, or you can just leave it on the end. Whew, okay, try a couple examples. Yo me levanto a las 8 de la mañana. Raise your hand. You can tell me what this sentence means. Yo me levanto a las 8 de la mañana. What are we talking about? Go ahead, Gus.
I wake myself up at 8 in the morning.
Yeah, okay. I get up at 8 in the morning. If you want to say I get myself up to remind yourself it's reflexive, sure. Otherwise, the quick translation, I get up at 8. One verb, one option. The little may is just in front. Okay. Ella se despierta muy temprano. So again, this is our little stem changer and reflexive. One verb, one option, so the little se goes in front. Look on your verb chart, not your verb chart, your vocab list if you don't know what despertarse is. And who can tell me what that means? Ella se despierta muy temprano. Charlie.
She goes to bed very early.
You're so close, it's actually the opposite.
Oh, very late.
No, the despertar is the opposite. Are you looking at your vocab list at all?
Oh, no.
Okay, so it's the opposite. So she doesn't go to bed, she
Wakes up.
there you go. She wakes up very early. Good. All righty. Next up, we've got a qué hora te desayunas? Desayunarse. This one does not have to be reflexive. Anybody know about that one? A qué hora? What are you thinking? Who's got it? Somebody unmuted. I can't tell who. Ty, you want to go?
Oh, yeah. At what time do you, I'm not sure what kata mean.
Every day.
Oh, every day, what time do you eat breakfast?
Yeah. Like, do you get yourself breakfast?
I'll get breakfast.
Yeah. Good. And I didn't actually, this was from last year, different textbook. Maquillarse, I don't know if you know what that means, but mis hermanas se maquillan en el cuarto. Anybody know what maquillarse is? Help us out if you know what it is. Anyone? You want me to do it? Okay, I'll do it. Okay, so my sisters put on makeup, maquillarse, in their room. So again, they're putting makeup on themselves. All right, nosotros nos acostamos. What's that one? Nos acostamos. We just talked about acostar, say. So what's it mean? Nos acostamos muy tarde. Show me you're with me. Nos acostamos muy tarde.
Is it like we go to sleep really late or something?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, nos acostamos. So we go to sleep, we put ourselves to sleep, or we go to sleep very late. Remember, you always think of stars, so you go to sleep when there are stars out. All right, I think this is my last one because all the answers pop up here in a minute. All right, so this was just another one. Bañarse is to bathe, right? So Pepito takes the bath, se baña in el baño. All right, so let me come back together here and see, are you feeling kind of refreshed? Hands, like, does this sound familiar? You've looked at this before, right? I know, last year was a little bit of a weird year, but in theory, you have covered this. So we're gonna spend a couple days making sure you're good to go, all right? Basically, the main highlights are the say is gonna change to me, te, say, nos, or say. If you have one verb, you have one option. Where does the me, te, say go? Somebody raise your hand. If you have one verb, you have one option. Where does that me, te, say go? Alyssa?
At the beginning of your
Mhm.
sentence.
Perfect, at the beginning or right before the verb, okay? If you have two verbs, you have two options. The little me, te, say can go where or where? Somebody give me one option. Where can it go? To get the little sandwich or the second one? Where can that me, te, say go? Charles?
Before.
Okay, go before the conjugated verb. Or, looking for a hand. Looking for a hand. Who's with me? Where can that other little me, te, say go? Can either go before the first verb or, Aaron, where can it go?
Between the two verbs.
Okay, can't go between the two verbs. So where's left, Aaron?
At the end.
Perfect. Okay, either has to go before the first one or attached to the second one. Whew. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some practice. I'm gonna share my screen first. I don't want you to practice yet because I wanna do a couple with you. And then I wanna give you some time to just go back and try and practice these. So let me pull up where I want you. Okay, so in a minute, don't do it now because I want to share with you first. You're going to go to your current lesson like you always do. We're going to do some study Spanish, but I want to go over a couple with you just to make sure we're on the right track. All right, so the first thing it's going to ask you to do is choose the correct translation. So these first ones, you just have to decide, is it reflexive? So if I wash the car, somebody unmute real quick and tell me, is that reflexive?
No.
Thank you. So you wouldn't need the may there. All right. So that's kind of what these first few are testing. Is it reflexive? Is it something you're doing for yourself? The second part is pretty straightforward here. You just pick the may, te, say. Okay. And the third part is a little harder. You got to fill it in. So let's look at this one together. So Maria washes her hair. So they gave us the say. So we need the lavar part, and it's just in the she form. So again, somebody unmute, tell me what I'd have real quick. Help, help, help.
Would it be lava?
Yes, thank you. It's just Maria, so it's just a she form. It's an AR verb. Maria se lava el pelo. All right, so you're gonna do these. They tell you the last couple here are stem changers, so pay attention unless it's in the we form. Okay, then you're gonna submit your answers and it's gonna give you some feedback on how you did. All right, so that one I definitely want you to do. If you have time, I want you to try the second one. This one you have to take your time on. Okay, the second one has two verbs. So Juan needs to wash his hair. So Juan blank needs to wash his hair. So here, all you're missing is the little mete say, but they're different in each one. Here, you're actually missing the second verb. So just take your time, fill them in if you have time, and again, you'll submit your answers. Okay, so now I want to give you some time to do this. So I would like you to go to the current lesson, click on the first reflexive is your priority, okay? And if you have time, you can do the second activity. I would like you to stay on the Zoom for at least a few more minutes till we make sure you know what you're doing. And then eventually we'll let you leave and you can go work on your homework, which is not related to reflexive. Your homework was just still some stem changers. But I want to stay here, so if you have a question, you can ask me. All right, so I'm going to stop talking. Stuff that I assigned yesterday. So again, if you're done, hasta mañana, and you want to go work on your homework,
I finished my homework already.
then hasta luego. You're in good shape.
Okay.
Okay?
Bye.
If you have questions with something, then obviously